It's that time of year again. Welcome everyone to a new game. Kinda. I mean, it is a new game, but it's not a new franchise to the series. We are here on F1 22 to begin the real My Team, the one that I live streamed yesterday. I just deleted that save because the AI had a major speed issue. Luckily, I think that has finally been patched and or I fixed the downforce issue. I don't really know which it was or if it was a combination of both. Guess we'll never know. Anyways, the issue is fixed. I can confirm after 2 races, I have Australia, which is race number 2, lined up for soon whenever I edit that, which will obviously be after I edit this. Anyways, as you might have expected, I already mentioned Australia is race number 2. Meaning either Bahrain or Saudi will be race number 1. As you know, Jeddah is my favorite track in Formula 1. So obviously, no Bahrain this season in a 16-race calendar. So Saudi Arabia, the Jeddah Corniche circuit, Jeddah will open up our season before heading to Australia. And then the sprint race in Imola, or the sprint race weekend rather, which I believe will be a 5-lap sprint race followed up by a 32-lap Grand Prix. A 10-lap sprint race followed up by a 32-lap Grand Prix, I believe. So that'll be pretty cool to experience next time. But for now, we're just going through the settings, setting up my team. We're rigging it. We're a newcomer team, so we're at the back of the grid, and we are rigging it so the AI earn more acclaim, more R&D points, more cash, more all of that. So we will be on the lower hand when it comes to... We'll be on the back foot when it comes to upgrading the car compared to the AI, who will be able to make those upgrades much quicker than us. Because the goal here ultimately is to not be able to win the world championship by season 2. It's hopefully to have this series carry over for 4 or 5 seasons before we finally win the world drivers championship. So anyways, designing our character and then our helmet here. All the livery designing stuff, I'm not going to show that because it's better to just reveal it in the car reveal section. As you could just see me doing all this stuff. Nice is very nice. That's my winning catchphrase thing. Our team name is going to be FireLynx F1 because, FireLynx, we have to. I might do another series, Road to Glory and Andretti Autosport. I might, which would be another My Team sort of video series, but yeah. Anyways, looking for a sponsor. Because we're at the back of the grid, we're going to want a lot of cash so we could get a lot of good stuff here to start off. And then we'll deal with the debt later on. So we are actually here in a second going to choose Echo as our primary sponsor here because the goal bonus is pretty good. And all we have to do is achieve 2 points finishes, which is totally doable. And I think Jeddah is probably going to be our best chance. And I'd say Monza is probably our second best chance later on at the Italian Grand Prix. About race 11? So races 1 and 11. Choosing a teammate. I was checking all the options, but it was clear right from the beginning. We're going with Oscar Piastri because he deserves a ride in Formula 1. And we're also taking him before he has any chances to sign with Williams.
Hello folks, and welcome to a very special edition of Paddock Pass. We're here at the headquarters of Formula One's newest team for an exclusive first look at what they will be bringing to the sport. It's always an exciting moment to welcome a new team onto the grid. However, what makes this occasion a little more special is how strikingly different the cars are this year. Yep, the long-awaited new regulations are finally here, and with them, the start of the next era of Formula One. The 2022 season ushers in a change of direction to the regulations aimed at promoting closer racing, with new aero additions in the form of swooping front and rear wings, along with the new eye-catching 18-inch low-profile tyres that will push tyre technology to the limit. So then, the question remains as to whether this team can grasp the opportunity before them with both hands and lead the charge against the rest of the paddock. We'll find out soon enough, as the new season is just about to begin. But first, let's see the unveiling of the team's car and meet the owner of the brand new Formula One team. Well, first of all, thanks so much for inviting us here today. It's been wonderful to see behind the scenes. As you might expect, I've got about 1 million questions, so let's jump straight in. It's been a long time since we last saw a team owner take their own car onto the track, and the sport's changed enormously in the intervening years. How are you going to handle the responsibilities of both managing and driving for a Formula One team? Let's talk about your teammate. Now, it's clear they're excited to have signed with you, but tell me, what is it that you think they bring to the team? So you've obviously been putting a lot of work into the car. I know it's early days, but how do you expect it to feel out there? Most of the other teams can boast years of experience in Formula One. Where do you see the opportunities to make those vital performance gains you need to put you within reach of the other cars? Ultimately, your success this season is going to come down to whether you can take positions from the other drivers. What is it about your car that's going to give you that edge in those battles? And finally, with so many specialist departments working together here at your headquarters, and with such an important deadline coming up, who's getting that coveted Teacher's Gold Star? Which group do you feel the most proud of right now? Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful to get an insight from you and, of course, to see around the headquarters. Thank you for today. Really appreciate it. And thank you all at home for watching as well. We'll see you very soon.
So you just saw our livery reveal. Very nice livery. Tour of our HQ. And our very first interview with the Will Buxton. So we head to the messages and then the activities screen here to decide what we're going to do, or maybe not quite. I just did this race this morning. I should know. It's only been like 7 hours since I did this. Anyways, we're going to do a driver training camp because it is a great thing for the team. We're going to help with the preseason merchandise sales, and we are also going to do power and durability focus because I was still scared at this point that it was an engine issue for us or something like that, and the AI was still going to be rigged. So I was all out, give us powertrain upgrades as soon as humanly possible. So our ERS has no upgrades. That's also scaring me because Jeddah, again, very fast, high-speed racetrack. Even though it does have a ton of corners and needs a lot of aerodynamics and a good chassis, it's mainly a power track here because there are so many straightaways, tons of DRS zones, and we're also going to upgrade quality control in the chassis just like we did to the aero department. And we're going to see if we can make any upgrades with the 700 R&D points that we have. So we're going to do the rear fore under tray here, and that will be our chassis upgrade for the time being as we have a personnel department event. Seeing what's happening, looks like Piastri is in the zone, so what should we do here? We're going to give him awareness because we really need to keep Piastri out of these accidents. The AI is ruthless and wild on this year's game. In case you haven't seen, they've been making more mistakes than ever. We hardly get any R&D points. Piastri, again, we could either give him experience or racecraft. We want the speed right now, so we're going to give him racecraft. The spark plugs pass, so we have another engine upgrade as another personnel department event with Oscar going on here. We could either give him acclaim or focus. It's an easy one. Focus is one of the most important attributes, if not the most important attribute, other than their actual overall rating to have. So we're going to give him some focus here. so, he could stay focused. Seeing what other upgrades we might be able to make, we're going to go with an ERS upgrade to give us, better energy deployment. And so, here we are then, going through all these charts. Looks like right now we are just behind McLaren as the 9th fastest team in Formula 1, just ahead of Aston Martin and Williams Racing. Rip Williams. Will they ever recover from this? But now let's go to the race weekend, because it's Jeddah. This race is always a banger on the games. It hasn't had a bad race in real life either across the 2 races that it's had. So here we are then, Saudi Arabia. Horrible country because of human rights issues, but a fantastic track as we head to FP1 now. And here's the first half lap, because this is probably the most satisfying half a lap you're ever going to see in your life. Not because I was good here. I actually thought I was kind of meh on this try. But because look at this. It's so smooth, so flowing, so fast as well. It's just so satisfying. These corners are fantastic around Jeddah. And that sector mainly is essentially why it's my favorite track. You need the skill to get through there. You need the speed as well. There's crazy racing as well. Arva's career mode last year had some pretty crazy races here, and I'm sure some other YouTubers had crazy races. My career modes never actually made it to Jeddah before I gave up on them. As we head on to qualifying now, at this point I realized I had the AI way too low. I was still scared, so I turned the AI down to 90, and I realized I should have been racing them at like 98 to 101. But we intentionally qualified 21st.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah street circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Russell, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Bottas, and Yuki Tsunoda, Magnussen, Gasly, Lando Norris, and Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo, Oscar Piastri, Sebastian Vettel, and Guan Yu Zhou, Stroll, Albon, Golden Boy, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as once again we get another year of Formula 1 underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice. They've not been pushing for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
On the grid then, at long last, for 25 laps. Looking at the strategies now we might have for this race. Looks like it's going to be a mediums to hard sort of deal. In the last My Team Career race I did, in the last save that I did on live stream, I tried going hards to softs. That strategy actually did work out in the end, and we almost got past a Red Bull in our debut, but I mean, it's just not going to work, I don't think, here today. We're just going to go with a safe strategy. The only issue is, the reason I did that is because I want as warm tires as possible coming out of the pit lane, because there's no longer tire blankets. So the tires are really cold on the start. It's going to be a big issue coming out of the pits on those hard tires, and I fear for that moment. As now, here's one of the various new features other than the most obvious, which is the cars themselves and the regulation changes that happen in real life. We're forming up on the grid. This is not a bot. This is me actually driving for the first time in Formula One gaming history, or at least that I know of, and probably at least in the Codemasters / EA era of this game. As we're forming up on our grid spot here, the best part is you could actually angle your car if you want. However, Jeddah, you don't really need to as we head to the 5 red lights and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go. Mess start, to say the least. Quite a bad one. We're going to jump to the inside of Nicholas Latifi, take him 4 wide, heading down into the first corner. We ran in the back of Sebastian Vettel there. Slight contact, trying to go outside, or around the outside of Daniel Ricciardo through turns 2 and 3. Latifi gets back on by us, and heading into turn 4, we're going to jump down the inside, get our elbows out, and take back that spot. So from P21 to P18 on the first lap here in Jeddah. Not half bad, as we're all getting stacked up here through this first sector, heading down through turn 10, turn 11, and turn 12. Those aren't even really corners as we head down towards turn 13. But now at the end of the first lap, trying to dive bomb Daniel Ricciardo down the inside, we're going to get the McLaren nice and easy. He's actually fighting back through turn number 2, but we get in front and stay in front. Up into P17 now. Oscar Piastri still chasing after us. He's trapped towards the back. Now, 1 lap later, Sebastian Vettel is in our sights. We're going to take him here on the outside, headed down towards turn number 1 in the Aston Martin. Late on the brakes, and it's probably one of the cleanest moves you're ever going to see out of me. Normally, there's a lot of contact right there. That was just hard, clean racing here on lap number 3 of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. As now Lando Norris is going after Oscar Piastri, who actually qualified in front of us, my bad. And anyways, we're going to take the high line. Norris gets pinched into the wall. We're going to get an illegal overtake there for a second for going off track, but luckily Lando had the momentum and just overtook us. He has DRS. I have DRS. We're going to jump back to the inside, take Lando that way, and heading down into turn number 27, the final corner on this circuit with the most corners. We take away the spot, but Lando has DRS back on us. We're going to try to use overtake in that ERS system down this front straightaway. Norris beats us at the line, but we're going to stay in front because now we're the ones with the OP engine, apparently. We run a bit deep into turn number 1, but through turn number 2 and heading down towards this little kink that's known as turn number 3, we take the spot before eventually reaching 4 and heading into these fun little S's-like corners as we now have caught Oscar Piastri. We're going to stay behind him here so we could get the DRS down the pit straight as we now head through what almost looks like the head of a fish if you look on the mini-map, sort of. This does kind of look like a tadpole, this racetrack. I've always thought of it. Or something else, but I won't say. Anyways, big slide there for Mick Schumacher in the Haas. We're going to take him on the outside and go around Yuki Tsunoda, who Mark, the new engineer, who is almost worse than Jeff, told me Yuki has an issue. But we get past Tsunoda right there. He caused a little bit of chaos through that fish head part of the circuit, through turns 25, 26, and 27, as we now chase after Kevin Magnussen in the other Haas. We take our first warning right there. We get 3 of those before a penalty. Well, the third one is a penalty, so technically we get 2 free ones as we dive down the inside of Kevin Magnussen into turn number 13, complete the pass. And on lap 10, we are into P10 in the points on our debut race. And moving up quickly, here comes Magnussen, though, back around the outside. We're going to let him have the spot across the DRS detection point. Then deep into the corner we go. We have the DRS here, and we have the position, so Kevin Magnussen, nothing he will be able to do. We have this spot for the time being. But if he stays within 1 second of us, of course, he will get that DRS next lap. So we're just trying to pull away. However, we haven't. We are boxing this lap, though. Coming into the pits, Magnussen behind us also comes into the pits. It's a beautiful pit lane entry, if I do say so myself. And here's another new feature, a whole turn-in feature in the pit lane. You don't actually turn the wheel. I think you can, but there's a button you press and you have to try to press it at the right time, and it affects how quickly or poorly your pit stop is. And also there's pit stop errors. We didn't have one there, but the wheel could get jammed sometimes, you know, just like in real life, and it gets really tough. Bad exit there, though, on these very cold, hard tires. Just what I feared, as Verstappen is out of the session up the road. That's going to give us another position, and we will beat a Red Bull here on our debut today. This is like what I said happened in the stream the other day, as we stay in front of Kevin Magnussen for the time being, as Max Verstappen has retired from this session. I've already said that. But anyways, we're going to come out behind Mick. Remember, Mick Schumacher, though, on those cold but new hard tires. He's going to be very slow here for the first couple of corners, so we have to capitalize. My tires heated up by the time we were at turn 13, so I think that's where everybody's is most likely heating up by. You know, turns 13 through 16, that area, right before that back straightaway, which is also like 4 corners. So we're going to use all of our overtake right here down that straightaway to get past Mick. We run deep into the corner, but it shouldn't matter because Mick Schumacher has a very confined line on the exit of the corner, and we're going to stay in front. As yellow flags behind us, and it looks to be a Mercedes that had a bad pit stop potentially. And I think, are you kidding? I think it is who I think it is. We're going to see the notification pop up here. George Russell has had a mechanical failure. I know he's not my teammate, but that stings because he's my favorite driver. I even root for him in the games. However, he has brought out the safety car. I said I was going to box there. I didn't box there. We're going to the outside of Valtteri Bottas here on the race restart on lap 17. Bottas, though, dives down the inside of Pierre Gasly. They're going to be fighting this one down towards turn 4 now. Not really a set of corners or corner in general. You want to go side by side through, but we're going to go around the outside. We take that position off track. We didn't get a warning, so I'm not giving that place back because although I'm a fair racer, or I wish I was, I'm not giving that spot back. You know, nice guys don't win. I have to be mean sometimes. As we're closing in now on Pierre Gasly a couple laps later after DRS has been enabled, which is 3 laps after the restart now we're on. DRS gets enabled after 2 full laps. We're closing in. We're closing down this pit straight. Closing even more on Pierre. We're going to jump to the outside here. Quick little flick of the wheel, and we get back around Pierre. Whoa. For the first time in this race around Pierre, not back around him. And we are up into P7 in this race. Final lap now. We were closing. We actually did have DRS from Esteban Ocon, but he had DRS from his teammate Fernando Alonso. We were in a DRS train, and if you know anything about DRS trains, you'll know that it was impossible to pass. Eventually, the tires started to get worn. He really dropped off, and we're going to have to settle, though, for P7 here in Jeddah, as our debut has gone about as well as you could possibly imagine. This is 101 difficulty, by the way. Driver of the day, me. That is my name here in Jeddah.
They've delivered an outstanding performance today and under intense pressure to take a well-earned victory at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
That's about the most perfect debut you could ever wish for in a car that is known to be... it's not supposed to be the greatest thing in the world, putting it nicely here. Almost halfway through the podium pass. This is what, day 3 of playing this game? P7 for us, P13 for Oscar Piastri. So it wasn't just a great run by us, it was also a great run by Oscar Piastri, who was also making his Formula One debut. As we look at the standings, sadly, however, if you know how Formula One works, only the top 10 get points, so Piastri missed out. I, however, get 6 points for that. 7th place finish. And yes, I'm 7th in the driver standings right now. Max Verstappen currently sits last, far behind Charles Leclerc. Just like in real life, a mechanical failure for a Red Bull in the first race. At least unlike real life, it wasn't for both of them. But anyways, about time now we start wrapping things up. As you see, the start of this race. And just the quick highlights from the first lap, this chaotic first lap of a chaotic race. Hope everyone enjoyed. If you enjoyed, make sure to... Oh my god. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe for more F122 content. I can confirm there will at least be a part 2. I would assume there's going to be at least 1 or 2 seasons of this. Minimum. And hopefully we go until I win the Drivers' Championship. I'd probably call it quits for, actually filming it and making videos on the series once I win my first Drivers' Championship, because it is kind of a pain to have to edit all these before doing another race for storage reasons. Anyways, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one.